Which way are you going?
Hello, go shortcut.
Okay, yeah, there was also some in Glove in front of Nigga and Jess's car.
That copy, thank you.
But I think they're still too far in to see. So I think we're live now. Let me do this. Get some decent light on the subject. Hopefully all good now. Hi everybody, and welcome to Djuma Game Reserve this afternoon. A pleasure to be with you. My name is Mark. Oops, let me take those off. Just heard an elephant. There are elephants. They're in front of our camp, and well, again, they're in front of our camp. Hello everybody. I don't know if you saw earlier, I was playing with some toys, and I'll get to those in a minute. My name is Mark, Becky's on camera, Seb is in final control, and this is Djuma Game Reserve, and we're ready for our PM Safari. This little thing, it's actually not so little, it's quite heavy and it's quite big, is ready now, and I don't think we're going to have problems with her for a while, because we seem to have sorted things out considerably. The only problem was software and computer stuff back in final control. We seem to have sorted out all the mechanicals here. There's so many components, I have to tell you, there are so many components to bring you these live drives. We are broadcasting from a vehicle. We're in the middle of the bush here in South Africa, and to get a picture from here to final control, from final control to the mountain, from the mountain to the city, from the city to the main city, from that main city to another city, underwater cables to Ireland. I don't know how many components there are. So when they say getting your ducks in a row, that's kind of an understatement compared to what we have to deal with to be able to get everything lined up to be able to bring you our drives this afternoon. And I think we're ready, and I think we're really, really happy to finally be with you. It's a really beautiful afternoon, blue skies, it's very, very hot. Well, not very hot, it's not like summer hot, it's winter hot. Temperatures probably in the mid to high 20s, even mid 20s. There were one or two tiny little patches of cloud in the sky earlier. They were so tiny I could hide them behind my pinky. So I don't think we're going to have any cloud, and that might just prove for a very nice sunset later. If there might be a little bit of cloud build-up, we need a bit of cloud to paint the sky. Other than that, sorry, I wasn't expecting to come back, so I'm sucking a lozenge. I should. Sorry. There, and it's not clashing against my teeth. But while we were waiting, I was playing with some things. Now, this thing that I've got here with the two thorns on it, this is a devil's thorn, and we've shown you the flowers of the devil's thorn. It's called Dicerocarium, and Dicerocarium actually refers to this very thing. Di meaning horn and carium meaning seed. It's the two-horn seed, and it is known as a devil's thorn. And it's a ground-dwelling plant. I'll find you some, and I'm actually quite sure that I might even be able to find you a flower of the devil's thorn this afternoon, because it's kind of a flower not perpetual, it's not an all-year-round flower, but there's a good chance might be some flowering. But with this devil's thorn, there was something else that was very, very intriguing. Now, in the past, if you've been with me before, and if you haven't, well, you just have to tell me, and I'll have to find you some adult ones. But I found you in the past, I found a couple of bagworms, of adult bagworms with very, very long pieces of stick that have all been cut the same length, a little bit longer than this, and a little bit thicker than this. And they're all sewn together longitudinally to create a bag, and the caterpillar lives in there. Now, this little thing that is playing next to this devil's thorn, that is a juvenile bagworm. Come here, child. There we go. You can see the silk. And this little bagworm has taken a tiny little stick, and there's a grain of sand or two, and a little bit of lichen, and a few more things, and it's more silk than anything else, because the caterpillar itself is so small. And as it grows, it's going to increase the size of its bag by finding maybe larger grains of sand, larger pieces of stick, until eventually it gets to be where it is an adult at the end of the season. I'm going to be cutting pieces of stick that are thicker than a matchstick. They're probably going to be about 3 inches long, and we're going to be sewing them together in a bag, and it's known as a bagworm. A very intriguing little creature. And I don't know, maybe if we can get really tight on it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just, oh no, she doesn't want to let go, but maybe I can just somehow. How can you see the stick?
Yeah, I can see that now.
Okay, so I'm going to try and just pull it away a little bit. Can you see the caterpillar holding on to the stick?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to disturb it too much. But that's my little bagworm. Not quite like a bag lady. Actually, it is. Kind of. Walks around all day picking up scraps. Bag ladies don't really sew them together to make clothes, but this one does. And the interesting thing about the bagworm is that it actually doesn't turn into a moth. The female doesn't turn into a moth. It's only the male that turns into the moth. And she stays in the bag. Okay, that's obviously a baby. When she gets much bigger, she actually stays in the bag. The male mates with her, and she lays eggs from a sort of semi-larval stage. She lays eggs in the bag. She dies, and those caterpillars use that bag or the baby caterpillar, or the eggs. That bag becomes protection for those babies. Anyways, enough about little things like bagworms and Dicerocariums. Let's go for a drive and see what we can find out there today. I think we'll go and look for those elephants at the Gari Dam. Evidently a big herd of ellies. And well, Henry's gone Gallagher shortcut. I think we'll go around this way. We'll go down to the dam now, in fact. And we'll see if we can.
Kurula and the Mampimpa, during the day she crossed western side of the Star Village towards Gramskayan to that Makulu Satin. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm still to
Okay, yes, we didn't get that earlier because I was telling you about it before we realized we didn't have sound. And Karula and kids, very important news, because yesterday we heard she had killed a Nyala at Arathusa, and Tristan said he doesn't think that we're going to see Karula for a few days because she's got a big Nyala kill on Arathusa. And well, my guess is something happened to it. She lost the kill, and she has come back to our part of the world, probably because she's heard that we're live again and we've got new tires and we're ready to follow her, and it's time to be back at Djuma. Kind of day today, you're going to see maybe an odd snake or two that's coming out of their hidey holes. Saw a puff adder when I was at home on a day like this. But yes, Karula's back in town with her children. As you heard on the radio, she's just west of Staff Village, which is pretty much where since now an empty staff house. Used to be Graham's house, then it was Craig and Kelly's house. At the moment nobody's there. And then she moved towards my house, but now there are elephants there, and because there are elephants there, I'm guessing she's going to move. So my best bet is a little bit later, maybe when it starts cooling down, we'll go on the Mvubu Road down in front of room 8 or something, and we'll see if she might not be there. New tires feel. It's not only new tires, it's new clutch and slave, clutch master and slave cylinder seal kit, so there's no more stopping. To put in clutch fluid, put in a new pressure sender unit, oil pressure sender for the oil pressure on the oil filter. So mechanically, Uganda is pretty solid at the moment. And yes, actually, Sarah, believe it or not, I do feel a difference. The tires, I think, are a little hard. I could probably lower the pressure a little bit in the tires. But for now, 16 pliers. I've got a 6-ply wall, side wall. So I think knock on wood, cross fingers, hold thumbs, touch wood, and all the other thingies that you can do, I think we're good. Nothing stopping me now, short of an elephant standing on the front. And here is our lonely bull, waiting for his ladies to come back. Hello, Mr. Wildy. Rub your horn on the tree for me. Your head on your boss. That's a tree that he probably rubs on quite a lot. You can actually see just under there that he seems to probably do it quite a bit. One of his territorial markings. He's probably got a little dust bowl where he's standing now, where he kicks up the dust and he defecates and he rolls and he pushes his head in the sand. His little territorial bowl. And kind of a message to other wildebeest that this whole territory, this whole open area is occupied by a big bull. And it's quite unusual because wildebeest don't go looking for females. They establish a territory where they've got good grazing and they've got good water, and they can only just hope that some females are going to come along looking for a good open area and some good ground and some good grazing, good access to water. For those of you who haven't been with us, he has got a group of females. I mean, we've had, I think the largest number in the herd we've gotten to is about 15 or more. In 2009, there were 7 calves that were whittled down to, I think 7, they were whittled down to 2. This last season there were also 7 or 8 that were also whittled down to about 2 from predation. I suspect Induna was responsible for one of them. We had the Nkuhuma females with their cubs feeding on one of the females. The year before last we had Sandy Patch Lioness and her cub feeding on one of the females. The wildebeest find it pretty hard to make a living in this part of the world because they're so dependent on these open areas, and the lion have become so adept at hunting them on these open areas, because once they get into the bush, wildebeest are not very agile, and when they get into the tree line on the edges of the open areas, it's hard for them to get away from lion, especially lion that have strategies for hunting wildebeest. And this poor guy, every time his females come back to him, we suddenly have lion here, and then they think, well, it's not so safe, so they move on. So it's going to be a matter of time until we find them coming back. He has been hanging out with some of the waterbuck, I've noticed, since I've been back here, but he's also not that fond of being in the tree line, in the thicker bush, without other wildebeest or without zebra and things. On his own, he's a lot safer out here in the open. I think he's just checking his scent on all the trees now, making sure that if anyone was to come by, anyone in the way of females for that matter, I'm going to be able to scent his presence. So, a little bit of a lonely soul at the moment, till the ladies come back. I think we got to name him. Maybe something like Willie. I don't know.
Billy because he's got no mate.
You were going to say?
Billy because he's got no mate.
Becky says Billy because he's got... I don't get it.
Billy no mate.
Billy?
Billy no mate. It's like a thing.
Oh, okay. That's kind of wee over my head. But Becky's saying Billy because Billy... What? Billy no mates.
Billy no mate.
evidently a saying in another part of the planet where Becky comes from. Obviously hasn't reached here. Okay, I say Willie, Becky says Billy. What about Ignatius? No.
It's a very granny name for a wildebeest.
Ignatius the Gnu. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see what happens. See you later, boy. We'll keep our eye on him over the days. I mean, this is the open area near camp, and he's going to be one of the first things we see. Oh, there's a little Steenbok. Tara. Sarah. Geronimo. See, now there's an animal that doesn't really mind being a bit lonely or alone. He's quite happy, actually. I think it's a little boy. Hello, lift your head, please. Not a little boy, it's an adult male. Hello, Mr. Steenbok. Unlike the wildebeest, he's monogamous. And his female might be around here somewhere. And he's quite comfortable on his own. Even if he's got a female, they don't necessarily have to be together all the time. They have a very, very small territory, so they're normally within earshot or eye shot in visual contact. I don't know if you've noticed the difference. Where we started off, the grasses were exceptionally short, and here the grasses are still a little bit long. Well, that is because this open area needs cutting from time to time. Either a burn or slashing. Either way, it needs to be opened up so that the new growth can come through. And, well, Djuma policy is rather not burn, just to slash it with the tractor, and that lets everything come up in the new season. It provides more grazing and lets the natural succession of plants improve. I don't know, it's possibly even better than rather than burning, because a lot of the seed stock doesn't get destroyed. Oh, there's a vulture up high. Directly above us, so I won't get to it with the camera though. White-backed vulture. Oh, suddenly going. Where are you going? Are you following me? Do you know something? Maybe you don't know something I don't know. My ticker seems fine. Still ticking. And a red-breasted swallow. Russ in Florida. Oh, Ruth, sorry. Ruth. It's that French accent on the other side of the radio. Ruth in Florida. Seb, I'm into this job. I thought it was Russ, it's short for Russell. But it's Ruth, short for Ruth, in Florida. Average lifespan of a wildebeest, I don't know, it's about... no books today to help me. I can't remember the lifespan of a wildebeest. 18 years, maybe. Don't know. Somebody can look it up for me. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. In 25 years, I've probably been asked that thousands of times, and thousands of times I've answered it, and it's one of those things, the numbers that just don't stay in my head. I can remember things like the Cortiodendron Michaelis montanum, which is actually a stem fruit plant. It's an amazing plant. I can remember things like Tricloceros longipedunculata. I just have to look at a plant name once and I remember it. But to remember the age of a wildebeest goes in my brain and it sort of just dissolves. Doesn't stay there. That's just... Okay, so Google via Seb says about 30. I think in the wild, I don't know, maybe that is the wild. I mean, who watches the same wildebeest for 30 years to know that they last for 30 years? Unless it's in the zoo. Massachusetts. Debbie in Massachusetts. Hello, Debbie. And a question about our guinea fowl clan, aka the Fleas. Sounds like a band. The Fleas. The guinea fowl. Debbie wants to know, we see them roosting at the dam every night. But where do they nest? And why don't we ever see their babies? Well, Debbie, I'm hoping you're going to stay with us for a few months because we're going to be seeing perhaps some babies. They nest on the ground. They have a communal nest where they all lay their eggs, I think it is. Because when the chicks come out, they're like 20 chicks. And they start running around. They are precocial. So they run around just after hatching, and it's amazing because you get these little guinea fowl that have that are flight capable. They're able to fly, and you often find them all getting to a water point like this, and then they all fly to the other side to roost. I hear a grey lory saying "go away," and I don't think it's shouting at us to go away. Alright, but this is more or less, I think, where the guinea fowl roost. And it's not the time of the year to have babies. They have their little ones in a few months' time, more or less midsummer, I think. But the thing is that when they have their babies, they stick to the very long grasses because they are vulnerable. When they are 20 or so little guinea fowl chicks running around, they're highly vulnerable to predation by so many creatures. So they stick to the thickets, and we sometimes, the only time we see them is when we flush them, maybe when we're driving through the grasses or when we're on a road that is lined with the grasses, and they might come out onto the road. But they stay to... It's a time when you'll notice we won't see guinea fowl here at the dam at all for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden they come back, and when they come back, the little ones are sub-adults. They don't have the blue or anything that the adults have. They're just sort of plain grey. Sure. Amber wants to know how many species of animal there are on the reserve. I'd say probably around 30 odd, Amber. I don't know, we'd have to see. We've got of the predators: lion, leopard, cheetah, wild dog, hyena, they're the big ones. Serval, caracal, African wildcat, genet, civet, honey badger, porcupine. That's 7. Then we've got all the antelope, wildebeest, and buffalo. They're not antelope, but they're bovids. Giraffe, zebra, they're not bovids, so they're not antelope. Impala, kudu, nyala, bushbuck, duiker, steenbok, that's another 10, makes 17. Call it maybe a dozen species of bats, maybe a dozen species of rodents, maybe even more rodents than that. Must actually have a look, Amber. We need to have a look. Maybe we need to start, now that we're starting at Djuma Game Reserve live drives, I think we need to start a list, a mammal list. But what we need to do is we need to find the Djuma list. I think Djuma's got a list of mammals that are found here. And we need to tick them off. We need to keep track of the mammals that we have seen. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the little mammals, like some of the rodents, some of the mice, and maybe some of, well, not likely to see some of the shrews. We're not likely to see moles or any of the mole rats, if there are any. Of course, moles and mole rats are two completely different creatures. So there are probably more creatures that we're not going to see than there are creatures that we will see. In terms of the large mammals, there's probably a greater number of small mammals. Oh yes, and squirrels. Seeing a squirrel running along the road. Greater number of small mammals than there are large mammals in terms of animals. And then we've got about 400 species of bird in the summer. Oh yes, and there's mongoose in the road, not to mention our several species of mongoose. Hello mongoose. A couple of them on the log. Let's see if some more. There we go. Second one just popped up. Not a great view of dwarf mongoose. We will get better. Unless we can get a little bit closer to them. Some of the mongoose colonies that we have around here, especially the ones on the open area near camp, see the vehicles often enough, so they're quite accustomed to us. A little group like this don't see us very often, so they're quite shy. But that was dwarf mongoose. We also have banded mongoose. We have slender mongoose, white-tailed mongoose. We might even have water mongoose. And changing subject slightly, Elaine is asking about the signs of spring. What signs of what is it that is a sign of spring in the bush? In reference to animals, plants, birds, flowers, etc. And here's a very interesting one right here. There's a tree on my right. The bottom part of it is green leaves, and the top part of it is getting a lovely russet red color. And those are the flowers of the tambuti that are starting to come out. Spirostachys africana, the tambuti. One of my favorite trees. Now, it's by no means the first to flower, and while I'd love to say flowers for the ladies, because there they are, bunches of flowers, they're not much. They're not really They're quite an inconspicuous flower, in fact. Ooh.
Okay, copy, thank you. Would like to make my way, but I'm still far away. I'm on Jordan step.
Ephraim, confirm Torchwood. And Nebulala and Mvubu. Interesting.
Yeah, Ephraim.
My timbers. 5 of them. I'm guessing that must be well, maybe not. But they're 5 male lion that have killed a baby hippo on Torchwood. Don't know how baby, don't know how small. But Ephraim is there. Maybe some of those guests will post some photos on our Djuma homepage on Facebook. Okay, sorry, I'm gazing at flowers. Now the knobthorn trees were flowering already at the end of June. They're another sign that spring is coming. Not necessarily that spring is here. The one flower that we would need to look for, and I'd have to go into the lodge to look for it, and maybe we'll do that my next drive, is the wild pear. There are only a few wild pears around here. There's a couple of nice ones up at the gate, but we don't get a signal there. But the wild pear, I'd say maybe the wild pear is one of those trees. Hello boys. One of those trees that is a definite spring is coming type of tree when it's flowering. A couple of impala rams, there's a little line of them, they're all walking in the same direction. Birds, well, we're waiting for some of our first visitors to arrive. And I actually, now that you mentioned it, Elaine, I think it's time that we started guessing. We started putting in suggestions, those of us who are birders. We've got I think one of our first birds to arrive is going to be the Wildbeest eagle. So we need dates. I think I'm going to have to set up a separate email account for things like that. Oh, hang on a sec. I see a young kudu bull. But yeah, when the Wildbeest eagles arrive, then we know spring is here. Little 2-year-old kudu bull. Nice fat tummy. Already developing a nuchal muscle above his shoulders. I think there's also, there's so many other things as well. The number of insects that come around the lights at night. The length of the days. The temperatures. And a day like today, last night was exceptionally cold. We must have a temperature variation between our minimum early this morning and our maximum a couple of hours ago got to be at least 20 something degrees Celsius difference. Those are also good indicators. Of course, the path of the sun as it moves to the south, and sorry, what was that said? No, I didn't get. Something should be around Sue Brenda. Right there, you see some lost picture. Lost picture. Oh, okay. I think so. Are we back? Yellow-billed kite. Hello, Brenda. Yeah. Milvus. His name is Milvus migrans. The yellow-billed kite. Yeah, they too should be coming back with the Wahlbergs. But the thing is, we don't get too many yellow-billed. We get more Wahlbergs eagles here, believe it or not, than we do yellow-billed kites. That's possibly because the yellow-billed kites scavengers and they have found places they can go straight to when they get to South Africa. They know, there's the food. And that's normally places where there's human habitation. Interesting, there's some rhino tracks here heading in the opposite direction, and there weren't any near Central Road. Oh, my neck is so stiff, I don't know why. No, breaking up, Seb, I'm sorry. Didn't get any of that. Maybe after I go through this dip. No, I'm just not getting anything on the radio right now. I see a primate sitting on top of a tree. That's interesting. I was going to go that way till I saw this primate. And when you're in nature, when you're in this kind of environment, if you don't get distracted, you're going to miss out on things. So it's kind of an imperative that you get distracted by things. And there's some vervet monkeys here, and I want to see what they're at, what they're doing, why they are doing what they are doing. Except now we're not going to see them from this angle, and we couldn't look at them from the other angle because the sun would have been in our eyes. But what's interesting is that if you're sitting on top of a marula tree, there's a good chance that it's seen something. Rhino's been here. It's the same rhino I saw earlier. Who knows? Maybe Karula and children are somewhere here. Let's go to the fire break. I want to see where this monkey is looking, and I want to be able to stop and listen for a bit to see if this monkey is actually shouting at something. No, he's just turned around and looking the other way now. And we're not going to be able to see it. It's actually on the eastern side of that marula tree. It's a big marula tree up on about 11 o'clock.
One combat west of Brown Ivor City.
Doesn't appear to be concerned with anything as yet. But a monkey and sitting on the top of the tree this time of the day when they should be feeding, especially this time of the year, food is not that abundant that a monkey can take time off of feeding and go and sit and relax at the top of a tree. And quite often if it's on the top of a tree like that, it's because it's alert, or it's looking out for something, because there's a hint of danger in the area. Certainly nothing to eat up there. 3 out of 5. Another one lower down in the tree, but it's a youngster, and doesn't seem to be too concerned with things, especially because it's on the ground running. I guess it could be the troop moving across open ground. They've got one sentry sitting high up to ensure safety for the troop while the troop moves over open ground, but doesn't seem to be anything. Alright, well, let's move further. We're going to do a loop. We're going to do Mgugu Road. William, hello William. William wants to know about jackal. I haven't seen jackal for a while. Jackal are very particular about their habitat type, the kind of terrain or habitat that they like to live in, especially for denning purposes. There's just some very fresh elephant tracks and sand where elephant were digging today and eating roots from this particular tree. These could have been the elephant that were at Gowrie Dam earlier, because the tracks come from Gowrie Dam, and there's very, very fresh tracks here. Well, they are very fresh tracks. We don't really have the type of habitat or the terrain that jackal. It's not a case of they prefer it. It's not a case of jackal being able to adapt. Jackal need and only live in open, short grassland. Now, we have seen in the past jackal on the open area near camp for brief periods of time, especially at this time of the year, after it has been cut short, the way it is in the process of being cut at the moment. And we might get some jackal moving through the area again and settling down there for a day or two. There's a pair of side striped jackal that there's been a denning pair of black-backed jackal there. But no, we don't have the terrain, we don't have the habitat for them. I mean, within the area that we cover as a live safari, just north of us in Buffelshoek, there's some open areas. Lovely open grasslands that they love. And of course airstrips. I mean, airstrips prove to be perfect home ground for jackal. Hello, Stacy. In Australia, Melbourne, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, this is where the elephant were. They must have been here from the dam. Stacy, hello. Do we have pangolins? Yes, we do, Stacy. And that would be something really special to see pangolin. Mike Moss, one of our viewers, who was here in the Sabi Sand recently. Not here at Djuma though, but Mike evidently. There is an Ellie up just coming off of Tambweti Dam. Big elephant bull. See if we can see him from here. Maybe if he moves, just see him feeding in the distance. He might come this way. It's not too far from the road. I don't know if we'll see him from the road, but we can't go to him as yet. Anyways, Mike Moss had a wonderful experience with pangolin, I believe. Looking forward to seeing your photos, Mike, if you're with us. And Ryan at Arathusa recently had a couple of hours with a pangolin in daylight. It's one of those things. We have to be very, very lucky, very vigilant. But it's also just a matter of timing, being in the right place at the right time. And one of the reasons why we drive around here as often as, well, twice a day, 3 hours at a time, 6 hours a day. And while for some who might just tune in for a few minutes and feel that it's boring, for us it's not. It's quite exciting because we never know what we're going to find. And we could come around a corner, there could be a pangolin in the road, it could be a wild dog, it could be an impala, or it could be a termite mound. And we have to wait until the next corner. There's some geese complaining at Tambweti Dam, so I think we need to go that way and have a little look at things. Let's see if we can find that little elephant bull that is there. Maybe there's some tracks of cats. Amber wants to know, what do we do if we have to go to the loo? Well, Amber, we're in a big loo with a view. Then I stop the vehicle, I say, excuse me, and I go and take a walk. But I'm lucky I have okay. Amber's coming on safari, and I think Amber's worried. Train your body to last 3 hours, I think, Amber. If you're coming in a few months' time, not even know is it safe to leave the vehicle and go to the loo. No, because as soon as I mean, can you imagine? The pride of lions smell your urine and they think that you want to take over their territory. No, I'm only kidding. That should be safe. Your guide should know areas where he feels it's safe enough to do so. Just don't leave little bits of loo paper lying in the bush like some people do. It drives me crazy. All the sundowner spots, you get these little patches behind thick bushes where people leave little bits of loo paper. All you have to do is dig a little hole or put it under a rock, or even better, just put it in a paper baggie and take it back to camp and flush it. But no, I don't know, I mean, it's just one of those things. You don't need porcelain to go to the loo. Generally speaking, you have thick bushes, those are the ladies, and then you have tall trees, those are the gents. No, I'm not allowed to go into Buffalo, but I want to just stop here. And I'm just going to have a quick... I'm just going to step away from the vehicle for a few meters just that I can hear better. Elephant, Mr. Tembo. Monsieur Elephant. Okay, he's coming. I called him. He's coming. He's coming over our way slowly. Not exactly aiming straight for Biffles or Cutline, but he's angling towards it. Question from somebody who not really a name, it sounds like an email address or something, wanting to know if it's Stormy that was killed by the lion. I couldn't tell you. It is in Torchwood. It is impossible to say. Even if we were to go there, it would be impossible to say. 5 big male lions on a hippo kill. I don't know how big the hippo is. I don't know how baby it is. I haven't the faintest idea, and there's actually no way to find out. It was on Torchwood. It could have been one of the Torchwood hippos. But then on Torchwood, who knows? Maybe one of those hippos is... Maybe those are the hippos that go to Buffelshoek Dam. There's so many hippos in the area, it's physically impossible to tell who it could be. There's our Ellie. Yo, Tembo! Hello! Mr. Elephant, please come and talk to us. He stopped and listened and ignored. He's walking parallel with the road. Let me see if I can just move for a better view of him. Lost picture. Okay, we're back. On again. Flat screen. Okay, it's good. Well, it's getting quite thick here, and he does actually now seem to be angling away from us. So we're going to leave him be. Janina wants to know, where do the migratory birds migrate to? Or actually, where do most of them go to? He's getting much further in now. I thought he might be in contact with the elephants that are near camp. I guess he is, but he's not interested. I would say the majority of the migrants are maybe European migrants, Janina. Just as a sort of a bit of a guess. I'm going to go back to Gallagher shortcut. See there, we can see him now from here. He's turned around even. Digging at something. You see him? I mean, we get migrants from Europe, we get migrants even from the Russian steppes, we get migrants from other parts of Africa. There are a fair amount of Africa, or what we call inter-African migrants. Intra-African, I think, not inter. And all your migrants are divided up between breeding and non-breeding migrants. Hello, Sandy. Let's move on, because maybe we can go find some other elephants that are a little bit more accommodating. Sandy wants to know, aren't the wild dogs due to come by in September? I don't know if the wild dogs really have much of a program, Sandy, or that much of a routine. But yes, there's a good possibility that by September, if they've been denning now, there's a good chance that maybe by September their pups are old enough to run with them, or move with them away from the den. But it's one of those things. I mean, we could have wild dog here any day. We could have wild dogs coming through right now. It doesn't necessarily have to be any particular time of the year. But I have to be honest, I mean, it's been quite some time since wild dogs have been seen as part of the Sabi Sand. Good chance that it's because they're denning somewhere. by the way, my little bagworm is still on the little stick on the dashboard. I think we'll find a tree and release it back into the wild. Let it go and sew bags together till its heart's content. Find a spot where there's a variety of plants, because I'm not too sure what its host plant is, but it will find it. Yeah. Hello, Davina. Davina's wanting to know if the wildlife, if there's ever been a problem with rabies with the wildlife. And yes, there has actually, Davina. I think rabies is a problem. It's a worldwide problem. In fact, a couple of years ago, there was a very big program, a very intensive program here to inoculate all the predators against rabies. I think it was pretty successful. Karula! Yoo-hoo! Gotta be here somewhere. Coming this way from camp. Could be in a very deep drainage line nearby. Be interesting for somebody, if anybody's watching Djuma waterhole cam or monitoring it, I'm sure there's still got to be a Zoomy busy with it, even though we're on drive. Just to let me know if you hear any alarm calls or any strange things going on down at Djuma waterhole. That might give us an indication of there being something like a leopard or 2 or 3. Speaking of Karula and her children, just news for you that names, as far as names are concerned, the guides, the rest of the rangers, the rest of the guiding community here in this part of the Sabi Sand have settled on Shivinzi for the young female. Everybody's accepted that, Shivinzi, but it has been rejected, calling the young male Shava. Mostly because Shava is, a little dwarf mongoose, but that's a cute photo. A couple of them just poking their heads out. Top of this termite now. Don't move, child. Please don't move. Such a beautiful little shot there. Especially because there's a little... Oh, okay, it'll come out again. There we go. Well, Shava is used for animals that are skittish. Not in the same way, but well, none of the guides liked Shava. So it's time to think of a new name for the little boy.
And also you cover by the like a
Ephraim, come in. Yeah, my radio's been down. Can you give me an update besides those in Gala, please? How big is that Mbubu? Oh, you think it's that one? Okay, copied. Well, I eat my words. Fortunately, I didn't say something like, if I find out, I'll eat my hat, because now I don't have to eat my hat, I just have to eat my words. But the young hippo, look at all of these children. The young hippo that has sadly been taken by some of this lion. Oh wait, let me just find out one more thing. Sorry, Ephraim, one more thing. What Ngala is that? Is it Matimbas? Yeah, it's the Matimbas. Remember that little hippo that everybody was so concerned about because he had a few scratches? He was at Twin Dams. The last time we saw him, we had Induna's nose up his tail. Well, it's him. That little boy. So it's not Stormy and it's not Bob and it's none of the new hippos. It's that little boy that was kind of away with a lost soul because he just couldn't find a place where he would be accepted. So he's in hippo heaven now. Yeah. There's such beautiful light with these mongoose, and the eyes glisten, a bit of sunlight glistening in their eyes. They're all coming out to say hello. Alexei, I think in Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken. Alexei, Dr. AVK. Asking about snakes. Well, I suppose since we're watching mongoose, we'll talk about snakes. What we're going to move on to, we're going to go and find, I know where we're going to go. We're going to go down Zoe's Road. Seb tried to do that yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday morning. Let's go to Zoe's Road. Pardon? Oh. Hello. Hello. Now I think I'm going to just do this for my little bagworm because it's highly likely that acacias are good enough host plants. Enough other plants around here for to find something to eat. And growing to a strong, healthy bagworm, pushing a shopping trolley, sewn together with silk. Anyways, the question was, do we get python, black cobra, what snakes do we get? Dr. AVK, I think that's Alexei in Kazakhstan. We do get python. We don't get black cobra. We get other cobras, Alexei. We get Mozambique spitting cobras. They're not a very big cobra and they're not a very aggressive cobra. They're actually quite a mild-mannered cobra. Although having said that, I have been spat at many times by spitting cobras, and nowadays wearing glasses is one thing, but I was spat at once when I didn't have, I was looking over my glasses because, well, that's a long story, and it wasn't very pleasant being spat in the eye by a spitting cobra. In fact, that's an understatement. It was excruciating. But it takes a lot for a spitting cobra, the Mozambique spitting cobra, to get aggressive, and they would much prefer to just disappear. Unlike their cousins, the black mamba, who don't spit venom, and they have a different type of venom. Black mambas are a little irascible. They're short-tempered, quick-tempered. We get snouted cobras, which is sort of southern version. Not, it's an S, not a G. Version of the Egyptian cobra, known as a snouted cobra nowadays. Probably black-neck spitting cobra. We probably get I don't know about Cape Cobra. I don't know if Cape Cobras occur this high up. Then there are a couple of obscure, highly venomous snakes. One known as a boomslang, which translates means tree snake. Not to be confused with another highly venomous snake known as a vine snake, also known as a twig snake. But we get even more snake species that are non-venomous. And Cape wolf snake, Cape file snake, red-lipped herald, eastern tiger snake, egg eaters, the rhombic egg eater. We get grass snakes. We get a lot of different snakes. In fact, maybe we need to get a snake list going as well as an animal. Well, we need to get a list of everything. We need to get lists going. And as the summer starts, we need to start ticking off lists. If you want, we could even do a tree list. Because although it looks pretty homogeneous and it looks pretty uniform, every now and then in between all of these trees is one little plant, one little tree that's quite unique. And it's finding those little gems, those little one-offs. That's what Ellies. These must be the ones that were at camp that have come this way. I'm the one that's supposed to have elephant radar. But I guess I'm babbling away about trees. Now I can see them. Now I can't miss them. Well done, Becky. Let's see, can we get in here? Yeah, I think so. Should we test these new tires? Pardon? Oh. Hello, little one. Won't test the tires just yet. What's this little girl? They seem to be still coming out. Yeah, there's still more. Actually, I think we can stay here. There's still more on the other side of the road coming up from camp. And they're going to be crossing the road too. And they're quite spread out. Slummy Law of Gallagher shortcut. They seem to be sort of heading southwest, coming across from more or less campsite, going up towards Wurtele Access Road. But there'll still be a while before they get to Wurtele Access. Did you copy that? Oh, look at them here.
Yeah, I can't copy you, but I'll call you when I'm on the back. Thank you.
Mostly heading west.
Okay, copy, I got you now. Thank you.
A mother and her 2 children. Older child just. And there's that female with the long tusks. I'm sure it's the same herd that's been hanging around for a few days.
Yeah, thanks. I promise I'll make some space for you now.
Hello, Danielle. This elephant's name's Danielle. Did you know that? Little girl. I recognize her. Got a little hole in her ear. Danielle wanted to know if it's true that cheetah are dying out as a species. Let's put it this way, Danielle. They're threatened. You know, the genetic diversity of all the cheetah in Africa is limited. It's almost like they all came from one stock and then and then spread out. But it's not. It's I guess in a way partly a consequence of man's intrusion into their habitat. But I think it's also one of those natural extinctions that's taking place, and it'll probably take another couple of hundred, maybe a few hundred years or so. Mostly because there are other predators that can do a cheetah's job better. And I suppose not so much doing a job, but fulfilling a niche. And in some places, like up in Serengeti, vast open plains, cheetah will be successful there for some time to come. But in an area like this, not so much. Lion and leopard and hyena are far more, and wild dog, funny enough, far more successful as a predator than cheetah, and they would put far too much pressure on the cheetah population. Oh, look at her. She's got straight tusks, almost like a forest elephant. Maybe she came from Gabon. Hello, madam. Hello, baby. Little boy. Jacques, come in. Not copying Aubrey. Confirm he has an Ingwe. Okay, we better go there then. Okay, thank you. Maybe we won't go to Zoe's Road just yet. She's quite an old girl, this. A long time since I've seen such straight tusks. Look at that. And this is her new calf. I'm thinking that this other one, yeah, who's well into her teens, is probably one of her first calves. Look at little one. See, little one's just smelling, tasting what mom's just been eating. Hello, little boy. That's how he learns. Watching what mom does and then just copies it. Kerry wants to, how do female elephants do what? Oh, okay. Hello, Kerry. What does a female elephant need to be to mate? Well, they go through puberty sort of around about 10, 12 years old. And theoretically they can conceive from about 12 years old, but typically they will maybe only conceive from about 15. Hello, Mrs. Ellie. Baby elephant on my hat. Hello, Carolyn. Is this birthday girl, Carolyn? Asking about elephant eyesight. Interesting question about elephant eyesight. When you look at the eyes, I mean, this is in reference to predators have their eyes on the front of their face, and prey species have the eyes on the side of their face. Prey species needing a wider angle of view to see where danger is coming from, not necessarily needing to see where their food is, because they have a nose that can smell where their food is. Elephant, really. Trying to get to the roots. Elephants do have a fair amount of overlapping vision in the front of their face. They have to. In fact, if you look at their face, the way their eyes are pointing down in front of their face, down at the ground, and the immediate front of their face is where their vision overlaps, where they have bifocal vision. Not bifocal, binocular, that's where their vision overlaps. But there is, obviously, to the extreme side of their heads, obviously then each eye is seeing something different. But they are able to focus on things in front of them, and that is so that they can use their trunk properly, and their brain can calculate distance with their food in front of them to be able to pick leaves, branches, roots. I'm thinking, the sun's dropping. We need to go find a leopard. We haven't seen a leopard for weeks. We need to go find a leopard. So I think our friend Karula, I especially wanted to see her today. Let's go past this little one pushing this tree over. Trying to get to the roots. Anyway, she was seen this morning coming towards camp near my room on the drainage line in front of me. And my guess is she's brought the cubs to the lodge. She's leaving them at the lodge again. And she's heading off to... It's okay, young lady. Relax. Just going to amble past you. You carry on eating your roots. Yes. And she's gone off hunting. I think she must have lost her Nyala kill yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little boy that was fiddling with it when it was in a tree and he lost it. Ooh, 2 nightjars. Did you see that? 2 nightjars just flew out of the grasses right here. Landed behind us. Carolyn in Texas. Oh, Karen in Texas. Hello, Karen in Texas. Wanting to know if elephants are born with tusks or do they develop later? They're born with milk teeth tusks. Not, and then their first year, I think by the second year they lose their milk teeth, and it's only sort of really the only milk teeth that they have, their tusks. It's called a tush at that age. And then from about the age of 2, the adult set of incisors start developing. Okay, you can come back to your roots now. Hey, pretty girl. We're gonna leave her soon. Don't put the camera on me because I'm changing. Not changing, I'm just putting on a t-shirt underneath. In anticipation of the sun going down and the temperature dropping. Just watch it with that tree, girl. I'm here. Hello. Gotta love elephants. They're just people in big bodies with long noses. Okay, let's leave this little girl. Let's go and find this other little girl. Our queen of Djuma. It's time we saw her. Everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats waiting to see Karula because we have to. You don't mind, do you? I suppose I better get out of the way because she's pushing this tree towards me and it's gonna... Don't want to get caught up in it. Okay. Jacques, come in. You still coming to his Ndlov?
Yeah, negative. Thanks, Mark. I'm my tongue passes, but I'm just going to see if I can locate on Gorilla here.
Okay, copy. I'll make my way there too. Anyone else there?
Yeah, Aubrey is with us, and then myself. I'm responding. I think everyone is responding as well, and then yourself as well.
Okay, copy.
We can just keep us updated, but
Go ahead, Ephraim. And Gallagher shortcut, they're slowly heading west. I'm going to leave a quarry branch in the road and they're heading sort of southwest towards Voya's access from here. Yeah, it's still quite far from Mdlela. It's near the first Skovanin. No, coming from the lodge. Just past that little open area. I left Quarry Branch in the road. Bye, elephants. See you tomorrow. Come back to my house. Anytime. Day or night. That looks like a raptor that just flew by. So, she's left her children at the lodge again, this cat. Hello, zebra.
Okay, copy. I think I'll be joining Daphne. For that thing we're up.
unusual habitat, but they are making their way out of this thicker bush. They're making their way towards the open area near camp. This afternoon they had rhino on Torchwood and the lion, now leopard, although they haven't got to the leopard yet. They're still on the lion, and they've no doubt seen buffalo. It's not too hard to see buffalo these days, I don't think. Although I don't know so much. And there are these elephants. Hello zebras, goodbye zebras, cutting through the thick bush. Okay, I'm afraid Zoe's Road and our hyena visit's going to have to wait. Maybe we'll go past there a little bit later if we have some time. For now, I want to go and say hello to Karula. I think that's an important one. See a Steenbok. I wonder if it's the same little boy we had. No, it's a young male. Earlier on we had an older male. Little boy now, next to the road in front of us. Off he goes. I see a lovely kudu bull. Looking at something in the opposite direction. I don't know what he's looking at. Has to be one of the most majestic of all antelopes. Oops. Jacques, I'm making my way onto Twin Dams Road. Let me know if I'm going to stand by or if I'm in the lineup.
Yeah, no, you can make your way. It's just myself and then yourself and Ephraim can make your way.
Okay, thanks. This is the kind of light we want to see Karula, especially because she's not doing anything at the moment. She's lying down somewhere. What that Karula's up to? Just wandering around. happy on his own. Might be other kudu bulls in the area too. One often finds kudu bulls in bachelor groups. Starting. Smell the potato bush. Quite understand the question, Alexi. Alexi is asking, why do elephants eat wood? It's part of in the branches, moisture, nutrients. Oh, roots. Well, even more so, roots. Very important in an elephant's diet. This time of the year, all the trees, the reason why they don't have leaves is because the temperatures are too cold and it's too dry to be able to support a crown of leaves, so they withdraw all their moisture and their nutrients from the leaves and they store it in the roots. And because they store it all in the roots, then that's why the elephants eat the roots, because that's where all the nutrition is. They can't support their body and their weight just on leaves, especially not now. There's not very much in the way of juicy leaves. So at this time of the year it's mostly bark and roots and little branches. Buffalo. So we're gonna have to breeze past the buffalo because I don't know. Anyways, guys have been suddenly leaving the lion and all coming to the leopard at the same time. Hopefully we'll get a minute or two with the leopard. Boom, boom, big buffalo. Couple of Inyari, Philomen's dip. I'm not getting anything at all, Seb. Hey boys. Oh, we can at least get 3 of the big 5 this afternoon. It's 4 buffalo. We know these boys. That's probably, oh yeah, another 2. Hello boys. This is an old man. I'm leaving the gala now. Once the sheep catch will lock it. Sorry, old man. Okay, this is gonna get a little bit dicey because now all of a sudden everybody wants to be at the left. I can't argue with that. They have guests. And the problem is that they tend to drive a lot faster to get there than we do. So we might not get a chance. We'll just have to see. Or we might only see her briefly before we have to leave. But you see, for us, fortunately, tomorrow is another day. For a lot of the guests, they don't get an everyday chance like we do. So if we don't see her today, as they say in Shangaan, Munzuk. Munzuku nakona irwe nasiku. Tomorrow is another day. getting his chip, breaking up too much. It's a pity. Some places the radio is beautiful, clear. Some places it just doesn't work. Somewhere near Mumba Road Junction on Pindams Road. Let's go down to Chelapan. This was Weaver's Nest. We're now going down to Chelapan, which is on Pindams Road.
Gorilla, she went mobile west.
Wonderful.
Yeah, kind of south.
West, kind of south.
South and west at the moment.
South, southwest. West, kind of south.
Just approaching Mamba Road. Anyone with you there? Yeah, at the moment it's Ephraim with me and Mark is joining, so you can take first time bar for a moment just for maybe 2 minutes or so, and then I'll make a message. Yeah, Ephraim is straight west of you now at the moment. You have visual of it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to just step on it a little bit. Gee, look, there's still water in this little pan. Southwest from Mumbara Junction. We should have gone down Elephant Skull. Sounds like she's heading towards Elephant Skull Road. Oh, hello everybody.
I just want to see if I can get 1 or 2 more pics of it, and then I'll make space for you.
Is to just get some of this light. Unfortunately, we're on this eastern slope, so we've already lost sunlight where she's going to be. The last bits of sunlight is touching the top of the trees on the opposite slope on the other side of the Mulwati River. Safari! Evidently, Ephraim's saying it's Safari, not Karula. I wondered how it could be Karula. Well, not impossible to have been Karula, because Karula could have left the cubs and made her way here by now. She's been known to move at any time of the day. So, wow. This will be the first time in 2.5 years that I'm seeing Safari on Western Gowrie. First time for everything. It'll be the first time a lot of you are seeing Safari. Jacques, are you on Twin Dams heading south? Okay, copy. I'm just behind you. Can I pull in? Copy, thanks. There she is. Yeah, this is Elephant Skull Road. Oh my word. No, I can't get you, Seb. Really, I can't get you at all. Hello, pretty girl. Thought she'd be bigger than that. She was a bigger leopard. This is Karula's mother, everybody. This is a grandmother of Sabi Sand. Look at that, right underneath the guests on the vehicle. down, idiot.
Book your visual, can I join? She's just standing in front of my mobile at the moment. As soon as she moves down, then I'm gonna move on and you can join.
Just going up Elephant Skull.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you can make your way in. I'll be out in the next 5 minutes. Thank you, Jeff. Station, I'm going to be leaving your lock of Safari. Mobile way. And full lock of Safari.
I mean, if you think Karula doesn't really care much about the vehicles, this is one old girl that has no interest whatsoever. This is a cat that is, I mean, you can see she's old. She's a really old girl. This. She's something like 18 years old or something. And with one eye, she's still an incredible huntress. She's watching. There's something down in the draining line. She's got her eye on. Heading down there now. Well, we got to see her. We're going to go around the other side of the drainage line, Twin Dam side of this drainage line, because there's a little track. I like to think of it as the sticks track, because I've so many times that I've seen the sticks on that little two-track that runs up the drainage line on the southern side. But it looked like she was going after something. Oh, this is new. Big torchwood. A multi-stem torchwood that's been slapped. Who's in charge? Well, my very first, now this is a leopard I've heard about for 2.5 years that I've been here, and I've had a brief visual of her once, one night at Arathusa, and other than that I have never seen her. That's Impala. That's probably what she was going for. Okay, you know what we're going to do? I will sit here and wait for the Impala. Ephraim is up there. Henry is here.
Yeah, I tried to go other side. I couldn't handle the donga.
This is also an, we'll leave the other vehicles to go and look for her. Nobody knows where she is, because once she came through that drainage line, we lost visual of her, and we've all come round to this side of this drainage line, and well, my guess is she's aiming for these impala. She somehow, maybe not, but there are already 2 vehicles crashing through the bush up ahead of us. I don't need to be the 3rd one, and I'm going to just sit here for a minute and see if this maybe, I think she might even just come straight out towards us, because if there's a cat in this part of the Sabi sand that knows every square inch of this land, she's it. Actually, that reminds me, there was a question earlier about lion. How come there's so many male lion in the Sabi sand? No, it is quite an unusual phenomenon, actually. Seb, can you talk to me to see if I can get radio contact? Oh, there's some Nyala there as well. Maybe she's going after the Nyala. Have you got visual again? I would think that she'd make her way out here towards Twin Dams and then Baboon Pan. Maybe. Nobody can see her as yet. So she's probably going for those Nyala then. We'll get around this quarry thicket. From I am here, have you got a visual? Yeah, I'm just behind Henry. This is not coming to the Impala. Guess we would have waited there a long time. Yeah, I suppose Abel does need to see them before dark. Somewhere in here. There is she is. Try and get around this way. She might still be going around these Impala. Come this way, girl. There, I can just see her ears through here. Let's just stop here. But she's looking that way. She's not even looking at these impala. Can you see her, Becky? Oh, there we are. Okay, it's got that quarry in the way a little bit. Come this way, Safari. Oh, we've got impala now left. Oblivious. She's just coming through behind the quarry now. Behind this dark green. She'll come out in front of us shortly. She's skirting these impalas. She's looking at them now. No, she's walking south. She's going away. Right, I really don't want to be part of this. Okay, I'll leave. Let Abel come in. Yeah. She's going south now. Not even interested in these marlin. But look how old she is. She's doing fine with one eye. For how many years?
Many.
Looks like there's one impala ram looking in her direction. Watch these, hey, Becky. That's a huge herd of impala. There, she's now watching these impala. Gonna come straight for us now. Okay, we're gonna stay here. See, I'm kind of in the way of them. Sorry, I've got to move. She's just up there, but I want to just get behind this tree so that we're not in the way. She is aiming for them now. Okay. Yeah, right in the way of that branch. I guess she'll move shortly. Can't go any more back and forward, she'll be obscured too much. But she's now watching these impala. I suppose she should really be called the queen. She's the queen of the Sabi Sand. Karula's the queen of Djuma.
Yeah, try to call Mark and Henry. You see that there's a big torchwood. Those Ingwe ones heading towards the big torchwood.
Abel, come in. I wonder if I can just... No. I can't go, I know I can't go back. But maybe just an inch or two forward just to get her face a little bit better. You see that right eye of hers. Now, please don't ask me what happened to her eye, I can't remember. Abel, come in. She's settling down for a wait. She's gonna probably do something that Karula does. She's found herself in a spot where the herd is actually making their way that way slowly. I mean, the herd, most of the herd is facing in that direction, and instead of trying to approach them, she's probably just going to sit down there in the grass and wait for them to get a little bit closer to her. And maybe that was her object all along, is to just get in front of this herd of impala, and as they graze and as they move, they'll get close enough to her that she can use some of this cover to... Abel, come in. Where are you now? There's that small track that runs along the southern side of that Shkovane north of Twin Dams, and there's also some mala here. We're just on the eastern side of the mala. I suppose with her sitting down, we could probably try and get closer to her.
She's up.
She's up. And she's watching these impala. Look at it. You can see that eye now, that right eye of hers. There was a fight once, and I'm not too sure who she was fighting with, but I think she lost her eye in a fight, if I'm not mistaken. Got to be someone out there that can help me, find out who it was and what it was. But she's probably one of the oldest leopards in the Sabi Sand, if not the oldest. What?
Thank you very much.
Impala looking at the vehicle and shouting an alarm and not even looking in the right direction. So they're probably just shouting at the vehicle that's leaving. Impala's starting to get wise, you know, they see vehicles and they some of those Impala alarming with the vehicle moving out. She's settled down now, just so they can relax too. And they have. Most of them got their backs turned now. And let's see if we can't try and get a better angle now. up again. Now I'm moving. Okay, we're not gonna go there. She's starting to move a little bit away. She might be doing a loop around. She's right in front of her. Ducking down again. The impala shot. I think the impala didn't know that there's something up. They're not quite sure where it is and what it is, I don't think. The alarm call is not as intense as it would be if they'd actually seen her. I think maybe they can smell something. Too many of them are far too relaxed. There's just a few of them that are alarming. Oops, sorry. Now it is getting darker, and as it gets darker, we're trying to keep the picture as light as possible. But you have to understand that we cannot put any lights on her. I'm starting to lose sight of her in the darkness as darkness draws nearer, and we can't put lights on her at all while she's this close to impala. So the picture might start looking a little bit grainy. It's because we've got the gain on. What are you on, about 18?
Yeah,
18 decibels.
and the shutter speed's at 25, so it's going to look a bit
Yeah, a very slow shutter speed, so if any movement that you're going to see is going to look a little bit weird. As long as she's sitting still, it's fine. It's going to be a bit blurry if she moves. Things still the same, Joe. haven't heard from Seb at all. Seb, are you still there? Can you copy me? Are we still broadcasting? Yeah, I do. Everything okay there?
Yeah, everything okay. The radio comes not working online. Got lots of questions, but I'll forward them to you immediately if I think.
I'm going to try 4. Yeah, I'm on channel 4. Starting to get difficult to make her out now. She's also got another advantage. She's coming from the dark side of the sky. If she was coming from the east, she'd have the sort of post-sunset glow highlighting her. But because she's coming from sort of the west or the southwest facing these impala, she's coming from a really dark area of bush that's silhouetted against the bright sky. So she does have a bit of an advantage. She probably has worked it that way. There's barely a breeze blowing, so I don't know if scent is going to have much to do with it. If anything, feels like the wind's coming from the east, so that's in her favour too. It's not even a wind. It's air movement. Come girl, what you gonna do? Lie down again. Oh, smile the hat. I can't. I've got to just sit up a second, and I'm directly in line of view, but I'm just getting so sore leaning at a strange angle. Got to have the patience of a cat for this.
Can you still make her out on that screen?
I can't see her without just looking at the screen, no.
Yeah, I can't really see her on this screen.
No, she's gone right way down now. I can just see the top of her ear now. Gazing with this branch that we've got coming from the bottom right corner. You can see where it starts where it gets light. It's a little bit dark, and then where it gets light is her head's just immediately to the left of where the lighter bark starts on that little sapling. Okay, how about this? There, tip of my finger is where her head is. That's the branch I'm talking about, and that's that little spot where it starts getting light. But yeah, now you can see her ears just there. But Abel, really, lights, not a good idea, dude. It's at this point that I ask for viewers' patience. Something flew up my nose, it's ticklish. We could also leave her be, or we could stay. Something might happen. When it gets too dark and we can't see anymore, there's not much point in staying because we can't use the light. And also, perhaps her chances are going to be better. And at this point in time, we're not interfering in the hunt at all. We're just bystanders. And you're down to about 12 shutter speed. 3?
Yeah.
Gee.
And can't go any lower on gain.
No. No, there used to be hyper gain. I don't know where hyper gain is on that camera. Oh, there's some pilot chasing each other. She just looked up. is what movement looks like. Then move my hand slowly across the screen and then fast. No, Aubrey. Temperature's dropping fast. Hmm?
I thought she was going to use a flash.
But also it's not wirecast now, so I suppose the picture's probably quite dark for everybody.
Down for a while, everything picked up. No chance. Okay.
I don't think they'll be able to see anything else.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Yeah, with the old Wirecast, we used to be able to lighten the picture on Wirecast, but with the Flash Media Encoder, I don't know if we can. So it's a matter of coming back in the morning to see the kill. Maybe, if she's lucky. So that is about it. Time for us to start finding our way out of here, perhaps. You never know when something is likely to happen, and well, we were patient. It's kind of gotten a little bit too dark, so let's. Impala, some of them are lying down now. They're actually moving back towards the drainage line. Able na mukampo. A lot of these mala larapans now. She's running west. I wonder why. Impala very relaxed. Maybe because she's going around, she's running to a point where she can watch this branch, huh? Sorry girls and boys, look out for tonight. She's now going in the opposite direction. Wow, well, it was interesting, that's for sure. Seb will have to come around and have a look in this area tomorrow. lock of one Ingwe, Evelyn lock.
The one where?
Up till now, Henry, she was still at Lapanzi where you left her. I think she started heading west now. As we get closer to camp, we should get radio comms back. Twin Dams has always been a bit difficult. It's such a low-lying area with a fairly large, or rather a fairly high ridge between the mast and Twin Dams. So our radio mast, I mean, not the broadcast mast. Well, that is fantastic. Seeing safari. First time I've spent time with her in ever. Goes to show you can sometimes be here for a long time. You know, I have to think about it. Back home in the Timbavati, and we've had that place for 40 something years. My parents have never seen lion on our property. Okay, they don't live there, and they haven't been there for about 8 years, sadly. No, yeah, about 8 years. It's 2003 since they moved to the Cape. But of all their regular visits, they might have seen lion on the road going in, and they've seen lion in Kruger. But they've never seen lion at home. I've known people who have come to Kruger Park for 20 years and they've never seen lion in Kruger. I know people who have come to Kruger, they drive in the gate and the first thing they see is wild dog. I mean, I know people, when I've been in camps running places, hang on. Nothing to do with me. The one camp I was running up in East Africa, in Sulu Game Reserve in Tanzania, we had Adu Seb and where was I? Oh yes. You know, we would have people that arrive on a BA flight from London at 6 o'clock in the morning. They'd be transferred to the other airport, the small international, or rather the domestic airport, and get on a small 6-seater plane, spend an hour. We lost picture. Okay, we're back, but we're just going through all these Timbuktis in flower. Wow. Let's just get through the dip. So, as I was and very often there was people arriving in Africa for the very first time, their very first safari. And I can remember there were many times when I had to chase animals off of the airstrip for the plane to land, and also many times that I had wild dog on the airstrip because I had access to 3 different packs of wild dog. And there were times when there'd be a leopard on a kill, and people would get off of the plane, and while they're still taking their luggage off of the plane, they could turn around and see a leopard on a kill in a tree. I can remember people. Nightmare, but because the dogs don't want to leave the airstrip, they want to stay in the open to see where I am, because you can't chase them in a car, you can chase them on foot. Running up and down a 1 kilometer airstrip trying to get these wild dog out of the way. And people get off of the plane and they see because they get off of a plane in the middle of Africa, and here you've got African hunting dogs, and unless you've been watching safaris like this, which of course doesn't happen anywhere else but here at Djuma, or unless you watch documentaries, or maybe you read up a little bit, but you cannot believe how many people come to Africa and they don't know anything about the wildlife, and they see wild dog while they're still stepping off of the aeroplane, and they think, wild dog. They don't even bother to take a photograph. And as I say, it's not being blasé, it's just big. They just don't know that it's the one and only chance they might ever have in their lifetime of seeing wild dog. But because it's there when they get off the plane, they think, they're going to be everywhere, we'll see them everywhere. So it goes both ways. You could come to Africa, your very first trip, you can see the most amazing things, and you could come to Africa twice, 3 times a year, every year for 20 years. It happens. It really does happen. My suggestion to anybody coming to Africa is do a little bit of research in the area that you're going to visit, what animals you're going to be likely to see there, so that if you do happen to see something really unusual or rare or special, you'll know what it is and you'll be able to appreciate it for what it is. There were some questions, and before we close off, as we're going up towards the big open area in our camp, address a few questions. Okay, we're going to do questions. We had lots and lots of questions. Obviously, a lot of questions coming through while I was sitting at the Leopard, and we couldn't have radio comms. We did have channel 2, which is the game drive one, but okay, go. Caitlin wants to know if Karula saw Safari, would she recognize her as a mother? Of course she would. There's no reason to think any different. Very much so she would. Induna would recognize her as a grandmother. I mean, it's these animals are they have overlapping territories. They know each other's scent. They know each other's voices. Very, very much so. Does the leopard see better in the dark than the impala, Johan? Yes. Although both species do have what we call the tapetum, or tapetum lucidum, the layer of light reflective cells at the back of the eye that reflect more light onto the back of the retina and then back into the eye, it is still the leopard's advantage in the dark. You see what it is I'm going to stop somewhere, and you know what, we're going to have a question and answer session. We'll make up for no game drive this morning, and we'll make up for things. We're not going to drive around, we're just going to stop here and we're going to talk, get through a lot of these questions. So good a place is there. Hey, there's a car coming, let's wait till this car goes by. So yes, you see what happens is the impala, even though, I guess for some of them lying down, they might see her silhouetted against the sky, but a leopard, when it is stalking, a leopard is going to crouch down and it's going to, I don't think that car's coming, I think it just stopped there. You got something?
Yeah, the white-tailed mongoose.
Okay, copied. So what happens is, you see, the leopard is going to crouch down, and in so doing, it lowers the horizon. So even against the backdrop of the stars, without a moon, you have the scenario where everything is silhouetted against the backdrop of the sky for the leopard, and it's invariably lower than the impala. There might be a few impala that are lying down that might see her, but yes, answer your question, very much so. Seeing better than, even with one eye, she'll see better than the impala. Next question. Okay, cool. Thanks, Seb. Okay, Carolyn Johnson. How did Safari lose her eye? I don't know. Did humans intervene? No, I don't think so. I think she's not the only leopard that's lost an eye. Hundreds of leopards over time. But I'll have to look into things. I can't remember. I remember Peter Pretorius telling me about it, or Rex. No, I think it was Rex. But I can't remember how she lost her eye, and as far as I know, no humans intervened in that scenario. One doesn't intervene really in these situations. Okay, what else? Alexi, hello. Yes, Alexi, that was Safari, Karula's mother. That wasn't Karula. Alexi saying, when we're watching her, waiting to make a kill, are we not disturbing her? Well, no, we weren't disturbing her. We were sitting quietly. The way things work here is animals pretty much ignore the vehicles, and the idea is when an animal is stalking, when an animal is engaging in a hunt, the vehicles need to stop and sit quietly. We were out of line of sight between her. We had her to the right and we had the impala to the left, and there was a clear line of sight between the two. So no, we weren't disturbing them at all. I think sometimes they do get disturbed because sometimes, especially when it gets dark, sometimes the guys get impatient and they switch their lights on or they drive too close. But no, I make sure that when we are with animals and they are potentially hunting, I make sure that we are not interfering in the hunt at all. Sandy wants to know where's Safari's territory. Well, Safari's got quite a large territory. I mean, she's been seen on Arathusa, mostly south of it. I mean, I'd say that where she is now is probably about the northernmost reaches of her territory. As far as west is concerned, she goes as far west as Arathusa, and she goes as far east as Chitwa, and even further east towards Cheetah Plains and Torchwood. But it's mostly south of us, and this is about the northernmost reaches of it. This is the first time, as I say, having seen her for the first time in 2.5 years, this is the first time I know of that she's come this far north from Gowrie Main. She evidently walks Gowrie Main a lot. I don't drive Gowrie Main mostly because there are so many vehicles up and down. It is a main road, and I try to stay out of their way. Occasionally we see rhino and elephant. Okay. Arlene wants to know if Safari can still have cubs at her age. She has been seen mating, funnily enough, but I think she's probably infertile now, Arlene. I would guess that she's probably not fertile anymore. But I think she was seen mating a couple of months ago. Clearly nothing happened. She clearly didn't fall pregnant from that. Okay, next. Ruth, hello Ruth. This is Ruth in Florida. Wanting to explain the rules of night driving and animals at night. Well, one of the rules is that we only really look for nocturnal animals, and there's actually one. Ephraim was with one further on, and we're going to go and have a look at that, see if we can find it again. We try not to shine the lights on diurnal animals. Elephant, rhino, cheetah, wild dog, giraffe are a big no-no to shine the light on at night. We tend to only shine the lights on predator, or rather nocturnal animals, and we're not allowed to put lights on when animals are hunting. And one limits the amount of light you put on an animal, and also one doesn't put the light directly on the animal. You let the light bounce off of the ground, or you have the animal in the periphery of the light. Especially with our camera, we don't need to put the light directly on the animal. But it is just a brief moment in their time, and we try not to spend too much time with them. Alright, let's just go up ahead a little bit, see if we can see this nocturnal animal that Ephraim was talking about. So I see he's... Marilyn wants to know if leopard would ever attack an elephant. No, I very much doubt it. Not even a baby. Marilyn, just the size thing there. I don't know, maybe an abandoned newborn baby and a very big male leopard. Remote possibility, but not likely. Hello Amber. Amber in the UK. Hello Amber. Wants to know why it's so dark at 6:30. Because it's winter. In fact, not even as bad as the UK, Amber. What your end of winter, let's say, there it is. Let's say, maybe it's a scrub here. No, it's a mongoose. It's the white-tailed mongoose. Hello baby. This might be Mojo. This is what we look for at night. Special creatures like this. This is one of the largest mongooses that we get here. It is solitary. It's more solitary than social. Obviously you'll see a pair when they're mating. You'll see a female with her children. This is about the size of a domestic cat, I'd say. Maybe even a little bigger. So Amber, much like in the UK during your winter it gets dark early, it does for us too. But you see also it's got to do with our proximity to the equator or the tropics, and you are much further away from the equator than in the north than we are away from the equator in the south. So for us, our time variation isn't that much different. I mean, we have a couple of hours difference between our summertime and our winter nighttime or nightfall. When you go to the equator, you don't have any difference at all. I mean, in the equator, it's like 7 o'clock summer, winter. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. Or 6 and 6 even. No. 6 and 7. The further you get away from the equator, the later the sun will set, or the earlier it will set in winter. The later it sets in summer, the earlier it sets in winter. So, I mean, you go to places like Norway and Sweden and that, where they have sunlight until midnight. The latest I've ever had was in California, was the sun setting at 9 o'clock. It's the latest I've ever had it. Okay. Thanks, Lynn. Knew I could count on someone like Lynn in Canada. Lynn was on drive with Rexon one day when Rexon said that Safari was in a fight with Shivati, who was the dominant male of the area at the time, and she was defending her cub from this big male leopard, and lost her eye in the fight. Sylvie in Canada, is it? Who are the Djuma lions? I know, I'll have to talk to the guides about this Djuma lions thing. I don't know who they're referring to when they talk about the Djuma lions. Maybe there are others that I don't know about. It's only since I've come back from leave and that we've restarted as Djuma that I'm hearing about Djuma lions. Otherwise I don't know. I've never heard of Djuma lions before. At first I thought it was somebody at the lodge posting something on the site talking about the Matimbas and just calling them Djuma lions because they were here at Djuma. But can't answer your question about Djuma lions. I'll talk to Ephraim and Henry and find out who they mean by the Djuma lions. Look at this mongoose. It's just floating around without me talking and couldn't care less. What did you find to eat, child? Gorgeous bushy tail. Nancy's asking the new name for Shava. We don't know, Nancy. We have to figure that out. As I said earlier. Sorry, I'm just going to try and move a little bit. What is something shining down there that can't be something's eye because there's no light on it. So maybe it's a light in the distance of a lodge or something. So, we will talk about a potential name for the little boy, but there is no new name as yet. It was only yesterday that I learned that there was a Rangers meeting while we were all away, and that it was discussed at the Rangers meeting, and it was decided that her name is good, Shivinzi is good, but they weren't happy with the name Shava. So Shava, it's not going to be Shava. And come talk to me, little boy, little girl. Come this side. Look. Yeah, thanks. I've got a little. Divas, thanks. I did have a nice chat with Heather today, and I will be chatting with Heather. So yes, just hello, Heather, and thanks for the reminder, Divas. We're all pulling for Heather, who's now in Seattle. Heather, normally from Alaska, who's going through something I went through 8 years ago. Just had my anniversary, and Heather's going to be having a transplant soon. So we're all holding thumbs and praying for Heather. Heather, if you're watching, hope you're coping with the city. Hope you managed to get some sleep last night too. Just making sort of strange noises, and an animal like this is always going to come and investigate something like that. I've actually been nose to nose with a pair of juvenile white-tailed mongoose by lying on the ground using red light and having them come up to me. Anyways, I believe it is time to say goodbye, unfortunately. I've had a wonderful afternoon. I hope you have too. My name is Mark. I was going to say my name's been Mark. I suppose it'll still be Mark tomorrow. Becky's been on camera and Seb has been in final control. And this is Djuma Game Reserve, live safari. From all of us, take care and good night.
Good evening, everyone. Sebastian here in Final Control. Sure, what a drive. That's really nice. I was excited here in FC to see Safari. I wished I was in Uganda with Mark and Becky. I'm sure you all enjoyed that. We never see her. I've been lucky. I've seen her a few times, but that's because I sometimes make my way to Chitwa Lodge, and she's most of the time on that side of the reserve. Yeah, she's a beautiful old female leopard. Anyway, I'm sure you enjoyed the drive. I will be on drive tomorrow morning with Becky, and Mark will be in final control. You can see him trying to chase the white-tailed mongoose now. Nice one, Marco. Yeah, thanks for being with us this afternoon. And I will speak to you, Mark will speak to you tomorrow morning from Final Control, and I will be presenting tomorrow morning, 6:30 Central African Time, with Becky behind the camera. I wish you all a great evening or a great day, depending on where you are in the world, and I'll speak to you later. Bye for now.